kind of reiterating what I did after the game. Just feel about the same. Very proud of our football team for the tremendous fight that they showed, and putting ourselves in position there late in the fourth quarter to close out, and we did not, and had opportunities in a couple of our phases to do that, and really disappointed that we did not, to be that close in that venue. Tough place to play. Really was just so fired up of our guys getting to that position in all three phases, and then, but just as we talked yesterday to our team, was about what do we have to do to take that next step, and we identified three things. First of all, in special teams, we had some real costly, there were three of them, penalties that affected field position, and I really made a big emphasis of field position prior to the game, knew it was going to play a huge role, and it did. And offensively, finishing in the red zone was something that came back to haunt us, not getting a touchdown there. For sure, the second time in that position, and have to do that in order to win on the road. And then defensively, those last few third downs. I mean, we were great the majority of the game in a lot of areas on that side of the ball, but had a 3rd and 19 that we did not. They didn't get the first down, but it made it a 4th and 3, and then they converted and got about 3.5 yards and got that first down, which was huge. We were up 9-3 at the time, and then a couple at the end where we had a chance. We had 3rd and 8 and a 3rd and 9 to get the ball back with more time left, so we didn't have to do what we did as time was running out to give our offense the ball. So just had chances in all three phases to be the difference and be the reason why, and we're not able to do that. So, but does not take away from the effort, the toughness, the grit that our team showed, and continue to build off of that and allow our guys to move forward. Really encouraged by a couple guys stepping up. We've got some guys that have had some injuries, and so other guys have been given opportunities. Ricky Brookins is a young man that we named as our offensive player of the game. Did everything we asked him to do in both protections and in the screen game, and just getting some tough runs. But just a guy that came here as a walk-on that really has always been dependable, and love him for that and his character. Chase Jutra was the defensive player of the game. Just played lights out, and making these 19 snaps on special teams and all those snaps on defense, and just continues to give everything for this team, and so proud of him. Not really surprised, because that's how he has always played since I've been around him. Just 100 miles an hour, gives his whole heart to this, and he's making a lot of plays. And then Griffin Oaks, 3 field goals, special teams player of the game, continues to be consistent, and it has to be a part of what he's known for. So really proud of him. In regards to our scouts for the week and our preparation, very, very important part of us being ready to play each and every Saturday. Offensively, Nick Tronti, Alex Rodriguez, and Tyler Nati. Defensively, Owen Streeter and Darren Meminger were listed. So getting a lot of different guys involved, and that's another big week of preparation. So that's one we have to put behind us and press on. So now we're getting ready to move on to Maryland, a team that's much improved from a year ago. Coach Durkin has been there now in his 2nd season, and when they went to Texas to start the year and defeated them, 51-41 in a kind of a crazy game with a lot of special teams drama and different points scored there on both sides in all different phases, but very explosive offensively, and they have 2 of the best backs we will have faced as a combination, and receiver-wise, 2 of the best receivers will play in regards to ball skills and speed. So that's a tremendous challenge. And then defensively, they just run around really well. Coach Durkin's a defensive-minded coach, and always has his guys ready on that side of the football, and they've been opportunistic and creating takeaways and physical up front, and they run to the ball really well. So I know that's what he demands. But good football team that we have to be on the road against and be at our best. So this preparation is going to be very important for us to be able to attack this week. Our word is relentless, And that's the way we're going to approach everything that we do in our preparation to head to Maryland on Friday. Questions?
Tom, how do you combat the frustration, maybe from a coaching standpoint as well as a player standpoint, when you are this close and you can't quite do it?
Yeah, I think that, fair question, and we had a good discussion as a team yesterday, and kind of get a chance for them to talk a little bit and ask them about how they felt, personally. And yeah, it's very natural to be, even to get discouraged, disappointed for sure, and frustrated. But what I did was I shared, there's a few head coaches in this conference that reached out to me regarding the way our team is playing. And I didn't ask them. I mean, they just, chose to do that. And they were so complimentary of how hard we play, how well we've played, how physical we are, how tough our kids are, just the way we've just battled and fought against really good football teams. And they're impressed. So I told our guys, I said, you can choose to, feel sorry for yourself, or you can realize you just played arguably the toughest schedule in the country to start the season. And you're right there. So you can get disappointed and hang your head and mope, or you can draw confidence from the way you performed, not how I told you could, but how you have physically shown to perform, and you can draw strength from that, confidence from that, and attack with more fervor and more grit than ever before, because you do know you're right on the edge and on the verge of breaking through. So, that's the way I approach it, and I just think that it's a matter of staying the course and just not growing weary in the process, and that's the key, and that's going to be our challenge as coaches. But we have played a tough schedule. I mean, you look at that, and in the beginning, I could have told you that 6 months ago. You knew we were in for a tough, challenging start to our season. So here we are, with the first half already completed and plus one, and you got 5 games left. So how you gonna respond? How you gonna finish? So that word finish, applies to the game. It applies to a lot of things, and that's going to be something you're going to hear me say a lot here in the next several weeks. But definitely a challenge for sure to be able to keep the mind, which is a very, very powerful thing, to keep your mind right, and because that affects your behavior, that affects the way that you approach each day, and it's going to affect the way that they come to practice tomorrow morning. And I fully expect them to be highly energized and focused and locked in to go play our best game of the season on Saturday at Maryland. And that's what our staff will lead by example, and that's what I expect. So that's where we're at.
I guess in that vein, on the offensive side, I know there have been some struggles, particularly against some of those better Big Ten teams, but I guess, do you feel like the concepts and sort of the things, maybe the foundation for that unit to kind of launch itself these last 5 games is there, even if maybe the yards and just kind of the production hasn't?
Yeah, I do. You got to always, I'm not going to take away from, Michigan State's defense and Michigan's defense and the teams we played, and Ohio State's defense, and Penn State's defense. I think those are 4 really, really good Big Ten defenses. And I know Michigan State's ranked top 5, and when we played Michigan, they were number 1. So you have to understand, it's a part of the big picture of what you're going against, and then you got a young quarterback that's still growing, for sure. So, and he's been put in some tough situations. There's no doubt about it. And so it's just, I think it's a lot of things, a lot of variables, but we believe in what we're doing, and definitely want to. You have calls you have back, you want to change. I got a call. I wish I could have changed on one of our situations. And, just like I tell our team, there's 2 days that you don't need to focus on. That is yesterday and tomorrow. You focus on today. You learn from yesterday. You don't be anxious about tomorrow. You dwell on today. And so we're learning from our past mistakes and things that we want to do and improve on and get better at. And we focus on what we're going to do today to be able to be at our best tomorrow. So that's, obviously we've played some really good talented teams, and I know a lot of teams have tough schedules, so that's part of it. And we knew that going in, and so now we got to be able to allow ourselves to learn from those and execute in those key situations. That's what it comes down to. Even on that, I said that 3rd and long, you got to execute the call.
I guess as much as you've preached resiliency for your team, when you look at an opponent like Maryland, who's now down to their 3rd quarterback, is there anything your team can kind of learn from what they've dealt with?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, we have had several positions where we're, backups are playing and guys are just, mixing and matching. They've had the same thing, and it's part of the game. It's part of life. As I tell our team, very rarely do you, once the season starts, are you going to have all of those same guys at their same positions at this point in the season, and so I think that they're an example of that, and so are other teams, and I know even talking to Coach D'Antonio, they had a rash of injuries a year ago, and everybody wanted to focus off with them was the fact that they were just losing game after game after game. Well, they were really beat up in a lot of key areas, and it took its toll, on them and their season. So, but you can't dwell on that, and you don't. But is it a variable? Sure, it can be a variable. They're on their 3rd quarterback, and so that definitely has an impact on their team. But the young man that's playing there now is getting better and better every week, and they're building it around what he can do. And tough, hard-nosed kid that's making plays. Led him to a tough road win at Minnesota, and so he's doing what he's supposed to do, which is step up and do his job. And that's what our guys have to do on our team and in those positions, in those situations. And I promise you, nobody else outside of here is feeling sorry for anybody, And so you just got to roll your sleeves up and go to work. And that's what we've done here, and that's what we're going to do this week.
Can you update in terms of availability possibly this week or possibly not this week?
Yeah, you hope to, Ian Thomas is a guy that we tried to go with last, and he was a game time decision, and got him in the warm-ups and just couldn't go. And so hoping to get him back, that would be a real positive thing. And I think that rest of the guys is still wait and see. It's too early in the week to know. We haven't practiced yet as far as for our normal padded practice tomorrow, so we'll know more. Simon Stepniak's another young man that you'd like to be able to get back out there, and we'll see how he progresses. And Sean Riggin, same thing, going to see how he develops this week. So those are 3 guys that didn't play last week. And Marcelino Ball, same thing, just trying to see where they're at physically and be able to get as many of those guys back as we possibly can.
Coy Cronk, has he kind of fallen that?
He's definitely, he had the injury during the game and working hard to get him squared away. So we'll have, it's a wait and see for sure.
Donovan Hale too. If I think you might have said pregame he might be out for the year. If he is, he's eligible. Is he eligible for a medical redshirt?
Yeah, he had surgery, and so we'll have to see. We don't know yet the extent of long term, but if he cannot play due to that surgery, then yes, he would be eligible for us to apply for a medical for his year.
What do you, and I know you've talked about Whitehead before, but the advantage he gives, the presence he gives by being able to punt the way he has?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just think that, I knew that we had to get that special team fixed. It's the one special team when I first made the jump to college, and you start having your spring practices. It's really the only special team that colleges work on in the spring. You work on punt team, and then everything else is just drill work for fundamentals usually of all the other special teams. Your cover units and your return units, but you always do punt. So it's the one special team where the most amount of yardage is at stake, field position, it's everything. And so, I just felt like, so we went after Hayden, and you get him here, and so he's proven to be as valuable as I hoped he would. And in terms of, and it's not just, having these great high spiraling punts. That's not really what it's all about. It's about ball placement, and that's the thing that I think that a young man like Hayden with his skill set gives you, when you can, you can move as we call it, the kick point around. It's no different than in a quarterback where if he's always dropping straight back and throwing from the similar area, you can kind of tee off on that area. Well, if you don't know where he's throwing from, you sprint him out, you do a 5, you do a 3, you do this, you do that, you roll him to his left, roll him to his right. And the quarterback can do that. It makes it harder defensively to pinpoint how you want to pressure him. Well, it's no different in punt, and so you try to, and he gives us that flexibility, and so a lot of times the guy just punts from the same spot all the time, and you can kind of scheme him up a little bit. So that helps, and then you try and put the ball in different places, and they got to guess where it's going to be kicked, and he has the ability to move around, and because of the ball control that a lot of times the Australian punters have, because that's the game that they learned playing since they were little, they have tremendous control with the ball. And so whether it's pinning them inside the 10 or trying to flip the field or trying to get the ball on the ground, let it roll a little bit so they can't catch it, that to me is what makes them, because you get these returners in our league and they're good, and so you sometimes get a beautiful kick. Well, it's too good of a kick because it's too far, it's too high, it outkicks your coverage in some ways, and then you set up, that gets big returns. So I'd rather have a shorter, well-placed kick than a high spiraling kick that allows them to set up a good return, because of the talent of the guy catching the ball. So kind of learned that, coaching in the SEC, and I was a special teams coordinator, and we're kicking to some really, really special athletes that we did not want them returning it. So it was either catch it as a run out of bounds or get the ball on the ground. And so that's kind of, and I saw in a guy like Hayden to be able to do those kind of things. And so that's where, and he's proven to be a big weapon for us, which is huge.
What can you say about Griffin's mental state right now?
He's locked in, he's doing his job, and he feels good about where he's at, and the mechanics are in rhythm, and he just got to continue. But yeah, he's kicked well. Really proud of him because he had a history of going to this place and Michigan State meaning and not kicking well, and so really well. We never talked about it, okay, intentionally, but he would bring it up, I guess, and I just didn't want to make that a topic, because I just said it's about your mindset, as a man thinketh, so is he, and so I just think that's why I focused on his mindset all off season, and I'm just really proud of him. So, but it's got to continue, and I believe it will.
You talk about Chase being a guy who's always kind of going 100 miles an hour. He's played in a lot of games. He's kind of a vocal guy. What kind of presence does he bring to the back end of it?
He good sense of humor, a quiet confidence about him. He believes in himself, and he brings that confidence to the group. And anytime you just play that hard all the time and it never changes, that creates a lot of respect, because you control that, right? So he chooses every game to play that hard. Matter of fact, there's times where we try to take him off special teams to try and get him a break. He won't come off. And he knows how critical each one of those cover units are that he's on. And so, I just think it's like when you have a kid that on your defense, let's just say, I heard a coach say this, it just is so true, that they had a walk-on that just plays so hard at defensive end. I mean, he sets the tone. That coach felt like that guy set a tone for his team because of the effort he played with and the toughness. That's what Chase does. He's not a walk-on, but he has that unbelievable toughness, grit, and fight, and it's consistent. So it's infectious. It's because, hey, I can do it. If I'm seeing that, I know I can do that because it's a choice. Effort's a choice.
Does Brookins also have that? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Does Brookins also have that grit and toughness?
He does. And a kid comes here that in his situation, and he's got a chip on his shoulder and something to prove. And I just really, really think he brings that for sure. And it's hard to come here and have to, pay for everything and have everything, is not, given to you in that area. And he's had to earn all that. And so I think it's, that's why I have so much respect for those guys and the ones that are able to just persevere and help the team and make it, and whatever the way is, his role has been expanded to help us on game day. Sometimes there are roles to help us in our preparation during the week. And so whatever the role is, those guys that accept it and buy into that are special guys.
When you were talking about moving the punt, you mentioned moving a quarterback, rolling out a quarterback can be tough to defend. without giving away strategy, moving forward, does Peyton lend himself to, does his skill set lend itself to doing more of that as the season progresses and he gets more
He does. He's a guy that can do that for sure, and you have to be able to move both directions, as a quarterback, even though as a right-handed guy, he's obviously going to feel more natural going to his right, but has to have the ability to move to his left, and whether it's scrambling around or design rollouts, So I think that, that's the thing you have to look at, and especially per who you're playing and how good they are up front, and that to me helps give you an advantage of not being as predictable, but I know Coach will do a great job of that and just trying to help him be successful for sure.
With Isaac James moving to, I guess, safety, can you kind of walk us through the decision?
Yeah, we just tried to, we got some guys injured and felt like that was the best chance for us to get him on the field. He's a really good athlete and a great kid that we felt like, hey, this is where he could really help our team, and really kind of have played him both at Rover and at Husky, based on injuries. And so we need him this week. We need his speed, need his ability to make plays in space. And so he's going to be important in our preparation because it's a different style of offense that we play and compared to the last couple weeks, and so more of a true spread. So, yeah, I just think it's been a good opportunity for him for sure, and he's right there in the mix.
That is a permanent move, or do you see just because?
Well, I think that what we'd like to do is just permanent for the season, yes, and then we get into spring ball and we'll see how it goes there. We'll probably get a chance to see where he would fit long term in spring.
He made a heck of a tackle on special teams.
He sure did, absolutely.
Does he have that capacity?
He does, and that's where once again athletes in space, and he's a really good athlete, and so yeah, that's where we need as many of those guys as we can.